Hey guys, Abel here, back with another video. I'm scratching my head because this is the 10th time I'm starting this video. I just cannot get this intro right. So let's just make it very simple. I am checking in from a different location than I'm used to. I have a different background behind me than what you're used to. I have no cute kitty behind me, which both of us are used to. And these things have something to do with today's video, because the topic of today's video is that I lost quite a bit of muscle. And I lost quite a bit of muscle because the past couple of months have been about a lot of things, but those things were not mainly fitness related. And the reasons behind that is that my personal life was going through a bit of a turmoil, relationship turmoil, I guess I can say that much. And well, the end result of that is that the background has changed behind me and there is no cute kitty. The cute kitty is going to come back at some point. The background behind me might not. And I think with that bit of an introduction, I think everybody can pretty much put together what has been going on. I'm going to say that it's not great that despite all of that, I have not been very much into my own fitness progress, and that I have been really missing training for the most part. There have been some training sessions here and there, but sporadically, and they were just not intense, voluminous, and just quite frankly, productive enough to keep my muscle on. I could say that I regret that this was the case and I wish I didn't skip training, but realistically there was no chance that this could have been any different because I had a very different way of keeping myself happy and to keep myself distracted from this difficult period. But I can say confidently that this is not going to happen again. And I can also say it confidently that I'm back in training and that my passion for training is growing by the day. There are several reasons behind that. One of which, of course, is that when the background behind you changes like this, that has a way of sobering you a little bit. It basically gives you a nice slap on the face, forcing you to wake up. And the other reason is that, well, I sold 2 PlayStations, one PlayStation 4 and one PlayStation 5. And that's all I'm going to say on that for now. But you can be damn sure that I'm going to be talking about that topic a lot in this coming year, because I have a lot to say. But nevertheless, here we are. And yes, I have lost quite a bit of muscle, and actually I have some numbers to share with you. These pictures that I'm showing now, this is basically day 1 of me returning to the gym and beginning my rebuilding process. At this point, we are looking at legitimately around 10 pounds, maybe more, maybe 11, maybe even 12 pounds. I'm not exactly sure how much muscle I lost, but a good chunk. Some of that size loss comes from the lower body, which is not as apparent, but even if you're just looking at my upper body, it's clear that it's quite a bit smaller. I have less muscle and I'm also quite a bit softer. To attach some numbers to that, I lost around an inch from my arms, so 2 centimeters or so, maybe not a full inch, but my arms were up at 40 centimeters when flexed, 40 and a half maybe, and they were down again at 38. From my shoulders, I lost around 2 inches, so they were around 130 centimeters in circumference, and they were down at around 125 or so centimeters. From my chest, I didn't lose that much, but it was not that big to begin with. From my quads, I lost a ton, but some of that loss started way before. I've been neglecting my lower body for way longer than just recently, but that's a whole separate video, so I'm not gonna get into that in too much detail. But at my biggest, I think my quads were around 60 centimeters or so. Now they are down at 54 centimeters, so big reduction in size. And my calves are smaller than my arms, which are already not big at the moment to begin with. So they are at around 37 centimeters or so. Interestingly, from my neck, I didn't lose that much. I would have expected to lose some size from there as well, but it just didn't really seem to be the case. It's around 40 centimeters now, and it has been around 40 centimeters before as well. So yeah, quite a bit of size loss, and in the meantime, I've also gotten fatter. What's interesting about the getting fatter part is that I've really not been eating a lot. People around me have actually been been shocked by how little I'm eating. I've always been known as the guy with the big appetite, but the truth of the matter is that when you're not very active, and I have not been very active, not just in the gym, but in general, I've been just mainly sitting on my ass, so that just didn't generate a lot of hunger. So I've not been eating a lot, but I've still gotten fatter because, well, that's just what happens with sedentary people. But a bit of a new era began for me, and I started my rebuild around a month ago. And so I'm going to show you another picture. And yeah, this is a nice comparison. You can compare proportions, you can compare leanness and the tan, of course, which is a little bit unfair, but couldn't do anything about it. The pale picture where I'm not as lean is, of course, the after picture. The other one was taken like 2 years ago or so, maybe 3 years ago, I'm not exactly sure. That is close to not my best ever shape, but it was not too far off. You can see just how much more impressive my V taper is on that picture. My shoulders are more broad or broader. My waist is smaller as well. And I'm pretty sure that the weight is very, very similar on the two pictures. I'm significantly fatter on the left, which might not be as apparent to you when you're looking at it like this. I can tell how much leaner I am on the right with the better tan just by looking at my belly button. When I'm getting really lean, my belly button starts protruding, basically. I have a bit of a hernia, which I still have back from my infant days, and that starts to show more and more as I'm getting lean. When I'm fatter, sort of approaching those high teens in body fat or even higher, then my belly button just turns into this very proper black hole that you can just get lost in. So I can tell how much leaner I am with the nice tan just by observing that. For you, it might not be as apparent, but if you take into account that the weight is similar on the two pictures, or I'm a little bit heavier on the picture with the nice tan, then that sort of gives you an idea of just how much muscle I really lost and how much work I still have. Now, this picture has been taken recently, so at this point, I would have been around 3 weeks into my rebuilding process. And the good news is that the improvements were rapid, and muscle memory has been aiding me in this endeavor exactly as you would expect it. My arms in 3 weeks, but actually probably less, have already rebounded by a centimeter or maybe slightly more. So they were down at 38 centimeters. Now they are already back at 39 centimeters. My shoulders, again, were down at around 125 centimeters or so. Now they're closer to 128 or maybe even slightly above. My quads, I wanted to measure those again as well as my calves, but unfortunately my self-adjusting measuring tape snapped, so I had to order a new one, and I'm going to update you on how that is going. But after a long time, I'm training quads and calves seriously, as in I'm training them seriously, and I'm serious about that. I'm not joking, because calves, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I have not trained them since like 2020. My weight has been also climbing up steadily. So I've been going from like 84 kilos to 85 and now 85 and a half. And slowly I'm probably going to approach 90 kilos. It's very clear that my body is just very happy to put on muscle quickly and efficiently at this point. And this magic is probably still going to last a couple of weeks. It's not going to last forever, but muscle memory is real. And bouncing back to where you were before is expected to be fast and much, much more efficient than how it was to put on that muscle mass in the first place. But of course, you never quite know what to expect. And when you have to acknowledge that, okay, you've lost muscle and you have quite some ways to climb back to where you were, you're full of insecurities and concerns and a bit of paranoia of, is this actually going to happen? Or maybe this whole muscle memory concept has been overhyped slightly. Well, so far, it seems like it's as real as it was always claimed to be. I knew that there will have to be a time where I will have to put this muscle memory thing to the test personally, and that time has come now. What I have also observed is that my appetite has increased radically, very quickly. Almost by the day, I wanted bigger portions and more portions. I've, of course, paid attention to eat enough protein and to also eat a nutritious diet, but slowly my old self with the big appetite has been coming back. And again, that's normal because not only am I more active physically, my step count is much higher, I'm in the gym daily, whereas before that I was just sitting on the couch, but also my body is trying to build up and repair structures continuously and rapidly. And that requires fueling. So my body is doing its job by ramping up my appetite or its appetite. So yeah, I'm not concerned at all that I'm a lot hungrier than I was. It basically is just telling me that things are working as they should. Performance in the gym has also been improving rapidly. A few numbers to throw at you. My RDL performance was, 150 to 160 kilos for at least 6 reps. That's something that would have been able to do basically any time I walked into the gym. Now it was back at 115 kilos for 4 reps.
115
kilos for 4 reps when I returned to the gym. So, that was a drop in performance that was disheartening to see. But of course, it was also a loss in performance that I had absolutely no right to be upset about, let alone surprised about. But I'm glad to report that as of today, so after about a month of being back in the gym, I'm already back up at 145 kilos for 4 reps. So actually quite close already to where I will want to be eventually. I've been adding like 5 kilos to my Romanian deadlift every 3 to 4 days. So the improvements were just rapid there. Another random performance that I'm just going to throw at you. On the 20th of December, I was doing 100 kilos for 5 reps on this chest-supported pull-down machine. And just recently, my performance was 130 kilos for 6 reps. So again, huge increase in performance. Most of that, of course, is neural, basically just my brain getting more efficient at the movement and figuring out how to best fit the movement for my body's needs. But still, plus 30 kilos and plus 1 rep, these are the sorts of performances that normally would take, years probably at this point. Also, it's a new movement, so I would make quick improvements on it, even if muscle memory was not aiding me now. Adapting to a new movement, which is already fast, plus memory, which is also very fast, the two things working synergistically, well, yeah, that's when you see improvements in your performance like this. Another one, I was doing this low incline fly press variation. It's a dumbbell bench press variation, basically. My performance was down at 5 reps with 30 kilos. And now it's up at 7 reps with 32.5 kilos. So I guess it doesn't seem as big, but relative to the movement is quite a big improvement. Also, I wasn't doing it as frequently as the RDL, so I guess I could have eked out more increases on this one as well if I was that dedicated to it. Basically, the point is that my performances have been going up in the gym very quickly, and again, that's something that's expected, and I'm glad to see it. It's a good question to ponder how long this rapid improvement phase is going to last. Earlier, I made the prediction that in 2 to 3 months, I should be back at my best in terms of muscle mass. Thinking about it now, that might be slightly ambitious, considering the fact that really for at least 2 years, I wholly neglected my quads and my calves. But I can tell that in my upper body, I'm not too far off at this point. So I think in another month, I should be back exactly where I was in terms of muscle mass. If in another month my arms are back at 40 centimeters or bigger and my shoulders are over 130 centimeters, and in the meantime my waist measurements are not exploding, then yeah, it means that I pretty much gained back the muscle that I lost in my upper body. In my lower body, it could take a little bit longer. And if I'm being very honest, I'm not super concerned about that. If I gain all of that back very slowly until the summer, and then I can proudly wear shorts again, I will be more than happy. In terms of nutritional strategies, I do what I would recommend to most of you in this kind of position. Basically, just let yourself eat as much as you feel you need to, unless you have some shorter term goal, like you want to get ready for some pool party or class reunion. It's the middle of winter right now, so I have no such goals. I'm just allowing myself to eat the amount of food that I need because I want my body to be able to rebuild efficiently. I'm also not force feeding myself, and I'm also not cutting back on my food to try to get leaner in the meantime, even though I probably could. So these are exactly the times when body recomp should be possible, because effectively I'm just a less advanced version of my prior self. Normally I would call myself an advanced lifter at this point, but 10 pounds of muscle or more is the kind of difference that can get you from the early intermediate stage to the advanced stage. I mean, that is a lot of muscle. If you go through a period similar to this, where you lose performance, you lose muscle, you miss time from the gym, and you also gain a lot more fat in the process than, say, I did, then your approach could be a bit different nutritionally. And I'm going to say that I'm not going to comment on this too much now, but let me know if you would like me to. So I'm actually happy to do another video on this topic and give my recommendations as to what I would suggest if you experience the same thing that I have now. So I'm happy to share that. Let me know if you would like another video on that. As far as other things, honestly, a big point of focus for me was simply rebuilding the habit of going to the gym regularly, and so that I get to a point where it's not even a question that I'm going. For that reason, I returned to my good old, very beloved habit of just going to the gym daily. So I'm there 7 days a week. I rotate exercises and muscle groups in a way so that that's not a problem recovery-wise. I honestly like the whole 7 days a week setup because that way it's not even a question. It's just a part of my day. It will take an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Kind of depends on the day, but it is a part of the day just as much as brushing my teeth or using the toilet is a part of every single day. So it's not even a debatable, negotiable thing, or it's not the sort of thing that you need to fire yourself up to, because it is obvious and inevitable that it's going to happen. And I want to get back to that same place again. There's absolutely nothing wrong, of course, with having rest days. That's how most people tend to train, and that's how most of my clients train as well. For me, to make this reestablishing of the habits as quick as possible, I went for this everyday approach, and so far it's working great. And honestly, I pretty much feel like I'm at that spot again. I don't debate myself. I'm not trying to negotiate with myself. I'm not telling myself things like, okay, maybe I can skip it today, but tomorrow I'm going to do more volume. No, I'm just going, and it's obvious. And keep in mind that I'm actually really not liking the gyms that I'm using at the moment. So imagine if I actually liked them. Honestly, I thought that getting back into the mindset where a gym is just very naturally a part of my everydays would be a lot harder. But man, it turns out that some pretty miraculous things happen when you sell 2 PlayStations. So it's another very useful lesson learned. But again, a lot more talks are coming soon on that topic. So that's what I'm going to say for now. So yeah, guys, a brief life update. I'm really going to document this journey as much as there is interest for this. If you would like to see each step of this process and how the rebuilding is going, I'm really happy to share anything and everything about it. So if you want me to, I'm gonna do an update video like this every week. I'm happy to do it. I'm just not sure it's interesting for anyone. You might still be seeing this background for a while, and there will come a day when my cute kitty is going to show up again with me, and I hope you will be at least close to as happy when that happens as I will be. I also hope that you like that guitar. I cannot play on it much, but I can do the first line of Nothing Else Matters, you know, the dun 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 dun. Basically, that's the kind of thing that you can do even if you cannot play the guitar at all. I also have a trumpet here.